Integrity is the bedrock of public service. Elected officials are entrusted with immense power, shaping the lives of their constituents and the direction of the nation. This sacred duty demands unwavering honesty, sound judgment, and a commitment to serving the greater good. Integrity is not a mere virtue but a cornerstone of effective governance. It ensures accountability, fosters trust, and strengthens the very fabric of our democracy. When individuals in positions of authority prioritize personal gain, spread misinformation, or engage in divisive rhetoric, they erode the public's faith in our institutions. Such actions undermine the principles of fairness, equality, and justice that underpin a thriving society. The consequences are far-reaching, impacting not only domestic policy, but also America's standing on the global stage. A nation divided against itself cannot stand, and a government riddled with scandal and incompetence risks losing the respect of its citizens and the world. Marjorie Taylor Greene, a Republican congresswoman from Georgia, has repeatedly demonstrated a blatant disregard for the principles of integrity and responsible governance. Her tenure has been marked by a series of controversial actions and inflammatory statements that have drawn widespread condemnation and undermined her role as an elected official. Greene has promoted baseless conspiracy theories, including the dangerous and unfounded QAnon ideology, which posits a deep state conspiracy against former President Donald Trump. Greene's rhetoric often veers into dangerous territory, stoking fear, division, and animosity among the American people. She has made incendiary remarks targeting Muslims, immigrants, and LGBTQ+ individuals, contributing to a climate of intolerance and prejudice. In one particularly egregious incident, Greene accosted David Hogg, a survivor of the Parkland school shooting, accusing him of being a crisis actor and harassing him on the streets of Washington, D.C. Such behavior is not only deeply disrespectful but also indicative of a disturbing lack of empathy and understanding. Greene's actions extend beyond mere words. She has actively sought to undermine democratic processes, supporting efforts to overturn the results of the 2020 presidential election based on unfounded claims of widespread voter fraud. Her attempts to delegitimize the electoral process erode public trust in American democracy and contribute to the dangerous polarization that threatens the very fabric of our nation. Greene's conduct represents a clear and present danger to the integrity of our government and the well-being of our society. It is imperative that we hold her accountable for her actions and demand better from our elected officials. Marjorie Taylor Greene's divisive rhetoric and actions have far-reaching implications for the perception of American democracy both domestically and internationally. Her incendiary language and support for baseless conspiracy theories contribute to the erosion of public trust in government institutions and fuel the flames of political polarization. When elected officials embrace extremism and promote misinformation, they undermine the very foundations of a functioning democracy. Greene's behavior sends a dangerous message to the world about the state of American politics. It suggests that the United States, once a beacon of democracy and a model for other nations, is now susceptible to the same forces of division and disinformation that plague other parts of the globe. This perception weakens America's standing on the international stage and diminishes its ability to promote democratic values abroad. Moreover, Greene's actions serve to normalize extremist views and embolden those who seek to undermine democratic norms. Her presence in Congress provides a platform for hate speech and conspiracy theories, legitimizing these dangerous ideas in the eyes of her followers and contributing to a climate of fear and distrust. This normalization of extremism poses a significant threat to the future of American democracy as it erodes the shared values and principles that hold our nation together. Marjorie Taylor Greene's presence in Congress has had a tangible impact on American politics, contributing to a toxic and dysfunctional political environment. Her confrontational style and penchant for inflammatory rhetoric have exacerbated partisan divisions and hindered productive dialogue. Greene's actions often seem designed to provoke, rather than to engage in meaningful debate, creating a climate of animosity and gridlock. Her association with extremist ideologies such as QAnon has further poisoned the political discourse. These baseless conspiracy theories, often rooted in anti-Semitism and white supremacy, have no place in mainstream political discourse. By embracing such fringe beliefs, Greene legitimizes dangerous and harmful ideas, contributing to a climate of fear and suspicion. Furthermore, Greens' attempts to overturn the results of the 2020 election based on unfounded claims of voter fraud demonstrate a blatant disregard for democratic norms and the rule of law. Such actions erode public trust in the electoral process and undermine the legitimacy of American democracy. Greens' behavior sets a dangerous precedent, suggesting that losing candidates can simply reject election results they dislike, further fueling political instability and division. Marjorie Taylor Greene's actions have contributed to a growing sense of disillusionment and distrust among the American people. Her divisive rhetoric, support for baseless conspiracy theories, and attempts to undermine democratic processes erode faith in government institutions and the political system as a whole. When elected officials prioritize personal gain over the public good, embrace extremism, and engage in inflammatory behavior, they chip away at the foundations of our democracy. Greene's conduct reinforces the perception that politicians are out of touch with the needs of ordinary Americans and more interested in serving their own interests or those of special interest groups. This perception fuels cynicism and apathy, leading to decreased civic engagement and a sense of powerlessness among the electorate. The erosion of public trust has far-reaching consequences for the health of American democracy. It undermines the legitimacy of government institutions, hinders the ability of elected officials to effectively govern, and creates a fertile ground for extremism and political instability. When citizens lose faith in their government, they become more susceptible to misinformation, more likely to embrace radical ideologies, and less willing to participate in the democratic process. Rebuilding public trust requires a commitment to integrity, transparency, and accountability from our elected officials. In light of Marjorie Taylor Greene's controversial actions, and the broader implications of her behavior, it is imperative that we demand responsible and dignified leadership in Congress. Elected officials have a moral and ethical obligation to serve the best interests of their constituents and to uphold the principles of integrity, accountability, and respect for democratic norms. This includes engaging in civil discourse, promoting unity rather than division, and upholding the rule of law. We must hold our elected officials to a higher standard, rejecting extremism, misinformation, and inflammatory rhetoric. It is time to reclaim the values of honesty, decency, and respect that have long been hallmarks of American democracy. We must demand leaders who prioritize the common good over personal gain, who seek to bridge divides rather than exploit them, and who are committed to upholding the Constitution and the rule of law. The future of American democracy hinges on our ability to elect leaders who embody these principles. We must reject the politics of division and embrace a vision of unity, shared purpose, and a commitment to the common good. Only then can we restore faith in our government and ensure a brighter future for all Americans.